Hello, it's Steve Overgard. I'm at 104 Lawrence Lane in Colonial Heights, and I'm going to go in the crawl space and check for some termites. Okay, I'm right inside the crawl space door, and the first thing I'm noticing is the house has been treated for termites. And you can see that because they bored holes in the block, and then once they bore the holes in the block, that's where they shoot the chemical. There's a little bit of cracking right here around where the HVAC line set comes in. It damaged the block, and then right above that is a vent. So there's a little bit of weakening here in the block foundation. I just measured the joist, and they are 2x10s, and I believe they're 16 on center. Looking at the pipes, looks like the pipe is CPVC plastic, and joist measurement is 16 on center. What I'm planning on doing is following the crawl door opening. I'm going to go along the left side of the house here, and then along the front, and then I'll end up at the front door. That's the area where I want to check. Just a note, I'm noticing some PVC drain lines, and it drains towards the front of the house. I'm seeing the discoloration here that's of concern right here on the joist. You can wipe it with your finger and it kind of smears, so it hasn't gotten too bad yet. Underneath the vapor barrier, the ground, well, where the vapor barrier is not, I'm feeling the ground. The ground feels very dry, kind of powdery. Of course, we haven't had too much rain in the last couple of weeks. That may change in the next few days, but over the summer, it was a very hot and humid summer. It was in the air. It's fairly tight to get up underneath the center beam, but there's a little divot here that's been dug in the dirt. So I'm going to scooch on through there and see you on the other side. Right, and I'm just past the center beam on the left side of the house, and I'm noticing this crack through the block. Not a big concern. It you can follow it down. It goes down through the block, through the mortar joint, through the block. That would be something to keep an eye on and make sure it doesn't get larger and smaller due to the moisture content in the air and in the ground. If it does, then you probably want to have some work done on your footing. I'm just pointing it out for reference. Doesn't look okay. Just noticing here the sill plate. This is called the sill plate. That's salt treated, and that's good stuff. Most termites and other critters will not eat that. And then outside of that is the band board. I haven't seen anything of concern yet. I'm up between the two center beams right now. All right, and this is the area where I guess somebody had noticed before. This is what remained of an old termite tube. The way that termites operate is they live in the ground and they get moisture from the ground, and then they will build dirt tunnels because they don't like light at all, and they'll travel up, and from there they'll get into the wood. In all likelihood, if they got into this, it was salt treated and they probably didn't like it, and they probably went from there up into, the untreated wood. You can see some old termite tubes right here, and that's a termite tube there, and you can see that they traveled this way, and they probably lived up behind the insulation here. There's a tube right there, and the tubes are the super highways for termites. That's not them eating the wood. It's they built the tunnels out of dirt to get to the wood that they like, and you can see them just following along here. I know it's going to be hard to see on the video, but I'm looking up on the left wall, and you can see the termite superhighway here, and it goes quite a ways down there, and where I see it is the gap between the floor and the exterior wall. So when I go inside, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thump on the wall, and if I thump on the wall and I hear those little dirt tubes falling down like that inside the wall, that can kind of give us an indication of how far they've gone. Okay, I'm still climbing along underneath the house, and I just passed the second center beam, so I'm between the second center beam and the front of the house, and the air feels a little bit damper and heavier up here, which is probably not inconsistent with what the owner is telling me. And I'm noticing too that the discoloration in this area here is heavier than the back of the house. So the moisture content in this area of the crawl space, for whatever reason, is probably quite a bit higher in humidity. Also noticing this vent here, and it is closed. The vent should be open all the time, except for when it's freezing out. So you only want to close your vents when it's, a danger of freezing your pipes. Most homeowners don't like to go around and do that, or they forget to go around and do that. So we recommend the replacement vents that open and shut themselves based on the ambient temperature, and they work very well. So that's something to think about. And this monstrosity here, this is where the main gas line comes in. The gas lines are differentiated from everything else because they're yellow, and of course we want to stay away from those. All right, and I'm up near the front left corner, and I'm noticing that this vent is open, which is good. That vent is open, that vent's open, all that's good, and that one's closed and that one's closed, so it's inconsistent. But that's what we find in most houses, is the there's no conscious effort to open and close the vents when they need to be done. That's why we recommend the automatic. Also, still up near the front left corner, seeing a termite tube. Right, where did it go? Oh, right there, right there. And that looks to me, looks like it might be a newer tube. And I'm up near where the front porch begins. Another one of those cracks in the block. Again, I don't think it's anything to be concerned about, something to keep an eye on. What we have here is, this is a cutoff valve, and if you follow the pipe, it goes out and it feeds the spigot on the side of the house. So what you're supposed to do would be, when it starts to get cold and you're remembering to cut your vents off, come under here and turn this water valve off so that you don't have water flowing to your spigot, to prevent it from freezing. And probably 0% of homeowners will do that. I'm just pointing it out. So if you felt so inclined, you would know where to look. I would be just a little bit concerned about this right here. This is a junction box. It's metal, it's rusted. It's generally below grade. And a junction box is a good thing to have, but I would recommend on this one it be like a waterproof junction box, you know, for obvious reasons, because that's not keeping that the wire union dry. All right, and I'm coming around the bend here, where this is where the front porch area starts, and I'll be going down through here. All right, and this is the front porch area, and you'll notice the little white, looks like crystalline right there. That's where water and moisture would pass through the porous block, and when it exits the block, it leaves behind a calcium deposit. So that's what that is. It tells me is that there's water passing from the outside, in the outside environment, to the crawl space, to a higher degree right here than in anything else that we've seen since we've been in the crawl space. And the discoloration in this area is quite a bit heavier than in the rest of the house, which also says the same. All right, and I'm looking at the fourth joist pocket from where the garage is. You can do the math and figure out how far that is. And I've noticed that the nails are rusty here, and I can see some water staining up in here too. So water is coming back to some degree and getting in this area. And we'll go and look at the third joist pocket and see what's up. This is the third joist pocket, and you can see right here, that's probably a termite thing. I don't know if it's old or new, but it's there. And then there's quite a bit of damage. Quite a bit of damage to the end of that joist right there. So we would want to replace that joist, or at least get onto it and extend out. Let's see. I'm going to turn around in a minute. And there's a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of termite activity. Kind of extends into this OSB subfloor. Although it doesn't feel soft, you can actually see where some of the wood is no longer there. It's probably been eaten. And this over here is just not structurally sound anymore, because so much has been removed by our friends. That's a big termite thing right there. And I just removed that mud thing, and you can see the holes that are now in the wood, and that's where the termites are heading to get their meals. My count might be off a little bit, but I'm going to call this the second one when it's actually the third. But same thing over here. This was the joist that was so bad, but if you can look up here with me, right there. That is a pretty big termite thing going on there that I'm picking away. And behind that will be, you know, the entrance to their little all-you-can-eat diner. Back up in there too. So we'll probably have some subfloor to do on the inside. Hopefully it's not tile. Replace this joist. The next one over doesn't look so bad. Okay, and to keep the counting consistent, I'll call this one the first joist pocket, but it's really not. But it doesn't look bad at all from what I can see. Not seeing a lot of activity, so I'm really, so far, only seeing the one joist, which is great. This is the actual first joist pocket from the garage, and you can see this board here. Probably when they laid the floor out, the subfloor didn't overlap exactly right on top of this joist, so they just put that there, you know, to help catch the edge. I'm seeing a little bit of rusting on the nails right here, all throughout here, and I'm also seeing a little bit of water staining. It's not terrible considering the age of the house, so I'll have to go inside and check out and see what's up with the foyer area, but really only the one joist. All right, I'm in between the center beams again now, but I'm coming down alongside the garage wall. Not really seeing anything of concern yet. I looked this other way over here, and I saw that, and that looks kind of questionable, simply because it looks like it was done after the house was built, and the construction techniques are inconsistent with what everything else is going on here. So that looks to me like a quarter beam. Perhaps there was a sag in the floor, and blocks were laid, dry stacked, and then a 3-member quarter beam was assembled on top of that, but it doesn't look right to me. All right, and here's a better view of that. So whenever I see something like this, you always have to question, was there a footing put underneath these blocks? In other words, did they dig down in the ground and pour concrete to have something solid to set these blocks on, or did they just level out a place on the dirt and stack the blocks up? So, you know, it looks like hollow blocks, which is not what you want to use for quarter beams or center beams. So I'm just questioning what is going on here. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just, it doesn't look right to me. This is a piece of wood. I don't know if it was what the deal is, but it was maybe left when the house was built, and you can see, you know, this just kind of articulates the type of damage that a termite will do, or termites will do over time. Those just turn to paper, basically. So that's why it's really important to do what you're doing now. I don't think this was ever part of the house. I think the builder probably just left a little scrap in here when he was building the house and never picked it up off the ground, and it got exposed to the termites, and they had an all-you-can-eat buffet. This is the area to the right of the house, and I'm behind the garage, and I'm seeing here is just a lot of this discoloration on the wood, and my lungs tell me that the humidity level is elevated in this area. The air feels heavy, and it's consistent with what I'm seeing on the walls, or on the joist. But other than that one joist up front, I really haven't seen anything of concern. I'm just seeing something here. I really wasn't looking for it, but I'm on the right behind the garage. That's the garage right there, and I'm just looking down this joist, and I'm seeing something like right there by that pipe. See it? And I'm going to go up there and investigate that and see what's going on. And this pipe right here could be like the overflow pipe from a hot water heater or something like that. Maybe the drain pan from a washing machine or something like that. So I'm going to I'm looking at this area here. It just doesn't, I'm just going to kind of poke at it and see what's up. I wouldn't be overly concerned about this, but I would definitely keep an eye on this area just to make sure, because number one, the discoloration is just real heavy in this area, and like in there, that really tells me there's a lot of moisture here for whatever reason. Keep an eye on it. It doesn't seem like there's a structural failure here now, but if whatever it is that's causing this condition goes on for, you know, a number of years, it could down the road cause a structural issue, but right now, could have been just a bad joist. Not horrible. I'm almost back out, and this is just something that I'm pointing out just to think about in the future. This gray fitting here is marrying the water supply line here, which is black plastic, to the white plastic. This is a Quest QEST fitting. They are prone to leak at some point. That fitting will probably leak. Proactively, you could change it out now before there's the same exact thing here. The CPVC, kind of the beige colored plastic, is going into what they call a shark bite, which is a press-on fitting, which goes into a piece of PEX, PEX, which goes into a Quest QEST coupling, which goes into copper. So all of this, with all those different types of material and stuff like that, will be prone to leak, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't leak. And proactively, you can fix all that right away.